Alright, welcome back. This is a review of Fruits Basket 2019, episode 9. Now this episode in particular, I'm going to go ahead and mention this now, as well as for the next episode, are actually, instead of them airing at about, I think they normally come out at 11:53, that's what it said normally the time is, or roughly when it's supposed to come out, whatever. And then of course you have to translate into your time. Normally, basically, when the normal time it's supposed to come out, this episode and then episode 10 as well are being delayed by at least 9 hours due to the French Open, which is like the big tennis match or whatever. So, which is better than actually what it initially reported, which was that the episodes 9 and 10 were going to be delayed by 2 weeks. And then, like, later that day, it came out that, oh no, they updated it to change it to, it's only going to be delayed by like 9 hours. So, this is a future reference, just so that you guys know. So episode 10 in this case is going to be delayed by about 9 hours, so it's going to be a little bit longer before we get to see that episode, which I want to talk about at the very end, a little bit here. But in terms of this episode, we get the Haru chapter. We get introduced to Haru. Of course, he turns out to be the ox or the cow. And as far as I can tell, it pretty much plays out not only exactly how it does in the manga, but also how it does in the original anime, with the exception of a couple of small little things. So, like, one small little thing I think that was removed a little bit is just the fight scene maybe went on a little bit longer in the manga, because there's a scene that was cut out right before Yuki's little asthma attack, which is also something that they changed up. There's a scene where Kyo punches, where like Hatsuharu's taunting Kyo, trying to get him to punch him, and then Kyo does punch him, and then Hatsuharu calls him like a snail or a turtle or something like that. But they cut that scene out, and it's fine. It's just a small little portion of the fight scene. It's whatever. And then what's interesting was that something that it's in the manga but it's not in the original anime was that they added in the scene where it's like, oh, they're talking, Yuki and Toru are talking about how he did martial arts, and she asked him, hey, did you ever enjoy martial arts? And there's this quick little scene, he goes, oh, I don't know if I did, or did I, or something like that. And you get the scene where it's like he's standing there watching Haru and Kyo do martial arts, and all of a sudden these hands grab him, and that's when it comes back to current time, and he gets a little asthma attack, or potentially a panic attack. It kind of mixes the both of them together, and it's like, okay, which one? You don't really know which one it is. It could be an asthma attack that was induced by a panic attack. But it's really interesting watching that. I like that they added that little part back in. Let's see. I think the only other thing in particular that is that I don't think they might have. I don't feel like they did. They might have done it in the original. Or no. I think I think I know what it is. All right. So in the original anime, when they're about to start the marathon, and you have the Toru and Hanajima right before that, when Toru's talking to Yuki, and then afterwards the Yuki fan club girls butt in, and then Hana does her little curse powers on them, and it's actually a really hilarious scene. But the I think that was still in there, but except for I think in the original it was just maybe they like after she had like they didn't interrupt her conversation with Yuki, and then like I think they said something, and then that's when you saw her, that they said something to Toru afterwards, and then Hana cursed them. It was something like that. I feel like, but I don't think it was. They had it quite. This version obviously is more accurate to what happened in the manga, so I'm happy about that. Other than that, it is exactly the same. It is, I mean, well, one difference is that they had the, well, I guess another small difference, but it's not really too big, because they just kind of changed the placement, was, where, with the flashback with Yuki and Hatsuharu, Yuki and Haru, and he's in the manga and in the original it was he sees him through a window and that's when he interacts with him. But in this case, he sees him on a bridge, little bridge or whatever. But it's fine. It still plays out the exact same way. Something that I like that they added was the what is it? The scene where, because they didn't really see it, I don't think in the original, where Haru is now a cow and he carries Yuki home. And the original just shows them back up at Shigure's house. I don't think it ever shows them trying to get back home. A little mini scene or a little screenshot or whatever. But in the in this version, you actually see it because it's in the manga as well, where you see Toru holding on to Hatsuharu in his cow form, walking, and Kyo trying to hiss at some kids that are trying to follow them and try to be like play with the cow or whatever, and it's funny. So I'm glad that they have that back in there. Some people, and I'm fine with it either way. There are some people that are happy about this next decision. There's some people a little bit disappointed because Shigure didn't quite do what he did in the previous series. And of course, he didn't really do it in the original. He did a little bit, basically kind of what he did in this version. But although people were really excited, Shigure didn't do his little high school girl song that he did in the original, or at least in the original anime. He didn't really do it in the original manga. He did basically what he did in this version, in the remake. But I know some people are disappointed about that. Some people like the fact that he's not as pervy as he was, he's not as pervy as the original made him out to be, which I'm kind of more on that too. But I mean, I was fine. I would have been fine either way. Other than that, I think I don't know if no, they still try to get it in there a little bit with the little high school girls or whatever song. But other than that, I think the only other thing that I want to mention before I get on to the interesting next episode is that in one of the problems, I know that it was an early issue with the original English dub for, again, the 2001 version, was that they weren't really good with the whole San, Chan, Kun type stuff. They weren't good with honorifics back then. So of course she was already calling him Yuki in the original dub of the series. And then so when she calls him by his real name in the new version, she instead calls him Prince Yuki, which doesn't quite fit as well. But then in this version, and as well as in the manga, they actually have fixed it to where this entire time she's been calling him Soma-kun, or Soma, and then now she's going to start calling him Yuki, which is, I'm glad that has now been fixed in the dub, because that is good. Other than that, that's really about it, besides that next episode is going to be really, really interesting, especially for you people who have only ever watched the original series, because this episode is going to be completely different, or at least it's going to begin out very similar to how the original played out, but it's going to quickly become very different from how the original played out this chapter. Especially since the fact that they only really animated in the original, they only animated about half this chapter, or this half of this coming up chapter, and then even then they didn't do it properly. They changed things up. They changed the reasons behind why characters decided to do stuff. And then of course they left out the second half of the chapter, and they also left out the next chapter after that. So it's going to be interesting to see the people who have only ever seen the original. It's to see what their reaction is. I'm really excited. I'm actually really excited to see this next portion really actually animated, because it's such a really interesting and like, wow, okay, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun moment. Fun, but also very, yes, interesting moment. But that's really about it. So, thanks for watching, and bye for now.